In the inbox late night, glowing screens see the light. Do-do-do, email, everything feels alright.
Not every email needs to be focused on conversion, especially if you're doing like 3 emails a week. Not everyone can be focused on conversion. Not everyone can just be, here's a product that I showed you a week ago anyway. When you're building your email program and bringing beauty to people's inboxes and helping them be the better person they want to be through your newsletter content, you need to have interesting things to say. Here's a great way to do it, and it looks beautiful. It's the world's best email and retention podcast, and I'm your host, Jordan Gordon. We are a member of the DTC network of podcasts and the philosophical home of the Pilot House email and customer retention team. Today we're going to discuss Filson, Masters of Outdoor Aspiration. It will be a visual discussion. We've got some designs to look through. If your podcast app doesn't have video, you can come and find this episode on YouTube with the rest of the DTC podcast. Full disclosure, we do not have any kind of relationship with Filson. I happen to just be a fan. I've got some of their bags. They're great. I had a jacket. Sadly, I lost it. The construction is bomb-proof. It's, truly like just a classic American brand. And everyone should have a Filson in their house. We have discussed before on the podcast, like a year or so ago, whatever, reasons that someone would even want to be on your email list in the first place. Product launches, they like your product, they want to know what's new. Discounts, they're looking for a deal. If you don't give them any kinds of deals, they just walk away. Aspiration, being on your email list makes them feel like they're becoming the better person they want to be. And then eye candy, just bringing beauty to someone's inbox. Filson's great at a lot of this stuff. The product launches are great. Certainly aspiration, which we're going to discuss today. Also, it is all eye candy. They just bring beauty to your inbox. I'm always happy having Filson emails come in, even if I'm not planning on making a purchase. And that's where you want your email program to be. Let's get started and go through some designs. So this first pair of emails I want to show you is just an interesting thought about repurposing content. So if you're doing photo shoots, like lifestyle shoots for your products, you'll know that those are expensive. You only get so many, and they have to last all season. So before we go through any of the intricacies of these two emails, just obviously look at the still on the left and the still on the right. It's the same amazing shot of someone in Alaska or the Pacific Northwest on horseback. I mean, that's a magical shot you're not going to get many of. So you really want to get value out of that shot. So look what they do on the right. They just do this winter standouts message, and they overlay an 8 because there's 8 winter standouts in the email. And no one who follows the list is going to decry you for reusing that amazing shot as long as you reuse it in a way that, brings some interest, right? So this is an interesting way to reuse that shot. Now, a little bit deeper, when we look on the left, which is the launch, there's some products, but it's a lot of lifestyle shots. It's more lifestyle shots. Why? Because when you're doing your launch, you're really wanting to pull at people's hearts. You really want to get them interested in what's going on. Later on, when they do their winter standouts email on the right, one, they have a better idea what's selling, so they can kind of build more of an email that features what's going on. In the launch, they don't really know what's going to sell. They have an idea, so just put in lots of lifestyle and just get them on a category page and start generating that information about what people like. But then, as on the right, as they now know, what do they have? They have lots of full-wide images of the product. It's fully designed. It's not like a dynamic product grid. I don't really like full-wide merchandising like this because you have to just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. we do 2x2 grids, or groups of 2x2 grids. So it looks the exact same on desktop and mobile. So you don't have to worry about any kind of responsive kind of technology, which can maybe just mess up in certain devices or clients. But also, you just get a better view of what's for sale, rather than having to scroll around and this one, but what about that one, and scroll back up to compare the two. You can just see what's right in front of you. You can fit probably a 2x2 grid and then a bit more on one mobile screen. So I'm not a big fan of the way of the single column merchandising, but if we look here on the right, how Filson does it, it's great because it's full of design. It's not just pasting in product shots from the site. There's lifestyle in there, and they've also got the countdown, the 1 through 8, designed in there nicely. So as you scroll through that, it does look quite attractive. There we go. Let's continue and talk about a couple more emails. We'll go through 10 in total. Filson bags. Their duffels are amazing. So looking here, what I want to point out, like just the little job they do with the lines and the text to really highlight all of the details. These emails are amazingly well designed. And if you are a premium product like this, you really want to point out the things that make your product special. And when I think about I've got a big Filson duffel and I got a smaller one too. The straps are stitched in. It's like they're stitched in with iron wire or something like that. It's never going to come off, and you can see them highlighting that here. Lots of pockets, places to store stuff. The zippers are amazingly high quality, so they're just calling that out. And you can see, this one's got like a little bit of a spot for your laptop, etc. And we've got the lines and the text pointing at the product, but then also these kind of zoom ins, which are little circles, and you can see that it's zooming in inside the product. Also, all through Filson's emails, they've got 3 little circles with colors on them, so you can select the color that you want the product, and when you click on it, it's going to bring you to the product page focused on the color you just selected. So it's not only are these designed very well, they're just beautiful to look at, but they're also highly functional, more functional than a lot of emails that are just really focused only on merchandising. Great emails. Also, at the bottom of these emails, you'll notice VIP text sign up. So all these emails are doing VIP text sign up. And we'll go through, there's a very good CTA where they call that out in a couple of messages, but they've got a nice secondary conversion that they're repeating. Every message in my mind has a primary conversion and a secondary conversion. You want to have something in there if the main message isn't really to someone's interest. And so very strong and well-designed secondary CTA. It's like a picture of a canyon. Amazing. Very aspirational. Just when I was a younger man, it's who I wanted to be. Now I'm a dad. I've got some different aspirations, but it still touches me. Let's continue. Look at a couple more emails. This is a little technical. Let's talk about dark mode. We have spoken about dark mode before, but let's have the talk again and start from the top. Dark mode is a setting on your phone. It was designed because not everybody wanted to be blasted with white when they're kind of, reading their phone late at night in bed. Also, like paper has a white background. Why does that mean your email has to have a white background? You're just blasting through your battery, and it doesn't necessarily make any sense. So your phone can just switch to dark mode. Now, when you've switched to dark mode, every application you have decides how to deal with that. I look at spreadsheets on my phone, and all the background cells are dark. When it comes to email, let's just talk about your 2 most important clients on an iPhone: your Gmail app and your iPhone app. So the biggest device client pair for opens at all is Gmail Mobile, the Gmail app on an iPhone. Apple Mail actually is smaller, but also still huge, right? So more people are using the Gmail one, but it's still huge. They're both huge. Gmail iPhone opens, Gmail app iPhone opens, I figure are about 34% of opens, rough calculation. So massive. And upwards of half the people using an iPhone are on dark mode. So Gmail, iPhone, dark mode opens are very common. They're a very big chunk of your opens. People are viewing your emails in Gmail dark mode. If you don't look at your emails in Gmail dark mode, you don't understand how, I don't know, maybe 20% of your audience is looking at your emails. There's also people who are viewing them through Apple Mail, iPhone dark mode, and Apple Mail on the left. I've specifically done Gmail and Apple Mail here. Apple Mail on the left, you can see this is dark mode, and it's still got a white background. So the way Apple Mail implements dark mode on an iPhone is actually to keep it light. It just forces light mode. I don't know why these two companies approached this in a different way. They just did. Some important commentary. You know what? Personally, I don't really like the dinny background on Gmail dark mode, but I do like dark mode because I don't like blasting through my battery and I don't like blasting my eyes. There are some tricks. We talked about this before. If you want to get really sneaky, Gucci does this. They make some of their emails, they actually make the light mode version, the normal version, black. And then in dark mode, it turns into a nice, really, really attractive kind of creamy white. And then you're not stuck with the dinny black on dark mode. That being said, suddenly most of your audience is looking at the email black. If you design it properly, I mean, it's really cool. It also really sticks out because you're kind of opening your email and you're going through all these really light background emails, and then boom, here's this black email. Or if you're on dark mode and you're scrolling through all your emails on dark mode and they're all really dark, suddenly there's this boom, white email. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, the point there is, I don't really like the dinny background on dark mode. That said, there are ways to deal with that. You can fill up the screen. So I'm sure we will go over some first principles for email and first principles for dark mode, but let's just skip ahead a little bit here and talk about some of this stuff. This is what I think you should do on dark mode in general, is make your images full bleed so that you cover up as much of that dark as possible when someone's scrolling through. If you do like a right, left, right kind of design, have the two images together be the full width, like the width of two images is the full width of your phone. We don't have any right, left, rights here because Filson doesn't really do them. They just do this full column that you see here. To look at this one, you can see that they do have the images that they have in their full column dark mode. You can see here on the right, they are almost full wide. There is still some of the black area. I think it's okay. I think maybe if they did try to do it full wide, maybe it wouldn't look right. It's hard to tell. All in all, the design, it looks okay, even though it's in dark mode. On the left, obviously, looks perfect. Looks just totally fine. The thing I really want to point out here is this tin cloth field jacket section. So now we're getting into the meat of this email. Gear up with Filson. Start your journey. This is an abandoned browse email. I clicked on the tin cloth field jacket, which, by the way, I want, but I'm living in Mexico right now. I don't really have a use for it. Now, on the left, obviously it looks fine. It's light mode. What have they done on the right? Filson has actually made this large, dark area where this will appear. If it was me to design it, I would have had it center aligned on the vertical axis, meaning it appears right in the center. There's equal padding above and below the image, although I'll forgive them for it. But they have built it so that you've got this kind of dark section that's just big enough for this, and you're scrolling through the email, and as you scroll through this, you look at that tin cloth field jacket section, and it looks like It looks like that could have been the design. I mean, it's obviously anybody who's paying attention and understands email knows that it's an HTML section, but it just looks like it could have been the design, right? And then when we go further down the email, we've got this same thing. We've got this what's obviously a recommendations block or some kind of dynamic block. We use the same stuff in our emails. When we do it, and we do it 2 by 2 rather than this big, huge scroll, having to scroll and scroll and scroll to see all the images, you also have less of a dark mode section in your full design emails, right? And when you've got a full design email, the hardest thing is, we've got this dynamic block. It's going to be HTML, and there's this section in dark mode. How are we going to make it work? And it's, so you want to just kind of minimize that. Another reason to do that 2 by 2. Anyway, to wrap this one up, I like how they've managed this recently viewed block on a full design email. Filson's emails are all full design, but there are some technical emails, and they've done well. Yeah, let's continue and look at some more emails. All right, here's some different kinds of tactical emails. On the left, we have it's kind of like a blog roundup, right? Their journal, the Filson journal. It's like the journal that you write in when you're traveling out in the forest like a rustic guy or girl. What do I notice when I look at this email? First of all, this email's great. If you've got a blog, why not just do this email, right? You can reuse your best photography from the season and just bring people into your best blog posts that you ran over the last, say, 3 months or something like that, right? And it's just a great way to get the most you can out of that content. You write that blog post, you want traffic to it. So you launch it, and then you get extra traffic out of this kind of, blog/journal roundup. This is immaculately designed. All their emails are immaculately designed. I love Filson's emails. And you can see here, what did they do? Well, it's blog post, and then blog post, and then blog post. And then we do get to on the left, we can see here a merchandising block, and then another blog post. And then coming soon, the women's collection. That's going to drive to probably a content page where they'll talk about this upcoming collection. If I was doing it, I would do sell VIP again, say, hey, be the first to find out. I'm actually not sure. I didn't click through on that before this call. I should have. But they're obviously finding a strategic way to end this email. So if you're going to push somebody through all these blog posts and all this content, at the end, we do have a merchandising block. It's like selling accessories. They're not trying to push anything particular. And accessories, it's a low price point sale. And this isn't really focused on strategic merchandising. So just push something low price point. And then that coming soon women's, and that's the real kind of strategic purpose of the second half of the email, drive interest in their upcoming launch. And finally, they just say, click through and check out the whole journal. And they just drive traffic to the main journal in case someone didn't find a post they were looking for. So look, what is this doing? It's progressing people through a series of things. Okay, it's a journal. Okay, let's go through a bunch of these journal posts. Okay, hey, try to sell something. Here's some really exciting stuff coming up. Hey, just check out the whole journal. No matter what, somewhere along the way, I'm likely going to find something I like. I bet this email has a great click-through rate. And not every email needs to be focused on conversion. In fact, if you're doing especially if you're doing like 3 emails a week, not everyone can be focused on conversion. Not everyone can just be, here's a product that I showed you a week ago anyway. When you're building your email program and bringing beauty to people's inboxes and helping them be the better person they want to be through your newsletter content, you need to have interesting things to say. Here's a great way to do it, and it looks beautiful. On the right, this is a much shorter email. It's for Chris Stapleton. He's some kind of musician. I'm not exactly sure who he is. I am a Filson man, but I also listen to indie pop stuff like Rye, whatever. So I'm not exactly sure, but I know he's some kind of country singer. Arrives this week. So it is a new arrivals email before the product actually drops. And we have here VIP texts sign up. So makes sense if you've got a really, really important drop that for whatever reason, and it could be a seasonal drop, or like this, it could be an important influencer. Sending a warm-up email beforehand, if you're sending a lot of emails in your program and driving that sign up, I mean, what's that sign up going to be worth? That text sign up over, the next 2 years that someone's with your brand. I mean, I'm sure someone's with this brand for a long time because as you've seen, the program is amazing, right? So how long is someone going to be on that list? A long time. What's the value of that sign up? I mean, I don't know, 10 cents per SMS sent or whatever it is, whatever your metrics are. So those things add up. So use it. And then ends up with the very end, and this is actually on all the emails. We didn't really mention this, but it's got a Filson near you. It's got a find a store. So they're brick and mortar as well. They're brick and mortar and online. And so all the time at the bottom of their emails, in a very attractive way, they're driving you to a store. And they're actually saying Vancouver. They know where I'm from. I'm from BC. So they've figured that out from me somewhere along the line, and it's intelligent to that. So, I mean, great functionality, right? Superior functionality. Okay, I think this is the last one. Let's talk one more. Yeah, and with some fun stuff. So on the left, I love this, winter sale. So Filson's like, I don't know, 140-year-old company or something like that, right? 130 years old. So if you look at the image here, it looks like an old-fashioned newspaper. It looks like a I mean, there's that green winter sale. They call that out in green. You wouldn't, but everything else, it looks like a black and white newspaper article from like the 50s. It looks like like a flyer of some kind from inside the newspaper. Now I know because I've been through these emails. They're actually taking great on-model shots from the season, making them black and white, making them small, and arranging them to make it look like a newspaper. It's a really great way to immediately drive home to the user, this is a 130-year-old company, right? And then it just switches back and forth between a few products. So why is it just showing 3 products in a little carousel? It's a sale. They are hoping to close that fabric out. They're hoping to sell that product out if they can, because your season is not full of essentials. We've discussed this before, but when you think about in apparel, you've got essentials, seasonal, and premium. And the seasonal you're going to sell, and then maybe you're going to make it again next year if it was popular, maybe not. A lot of it you're not going to make again next year. Fashion companies need to change up what they're offering to get people to make repeat purchases. So much of the stuff in this sale, they hope they're done with. A lot of it, they've said, we're not going to make that again next year. We're going to close it out. So since they're hoping to sell it out, they're not going to build an email that's going to be full of products that are not going to be there once someone clicks through to the sale. So this is a very simple email, great, awesome, super interesting design, and then very simple follow through, mostly just large CTAs driving to different product lines that are on sale. The email on the right is really fun. This is an important concept. It's a very important concept. It is a theme feature, not a category feature. When you go through Filson's email program, there's going to be lots of times where they say, it's going to be an email about pants, right? And it'll be like fishing season. It's going to be like fishing kind of whatever. But then they're also going to have pants that, then there's suddenly a guy who's doing a rugged climb through the desert. Fishing pants and desert pants have nothing to do with each other. It's a category. That's a category feature. This is a theme feature where they're messaging about, being like, this guy's got a motorcycle and looks like he's probably a surveyor, right? And he's got a bunch of the Filson gear and he's got his walkie-talkie and his papers and everything. And he's base camp essentials. He's doing whatever he's doing. I guess base camp essentials. Maybe he's a guide, something like that. Now, since it's a theme feature, they're not just selling only pants or only jackets. It's like got a table and a chair that fold to be super small. It's got like a pocket knife. Look, I bet that pocket knife is huge margin. So there's some massive margin products. I mean, your accessories are big margin. That's the way it works. Of course, it starts, you can see here, with with some flannel shirts, which are kind of super Filson-y. It's actually got a recipe at the bottom for, something you might cook while you're out doing your kind of base camp surveyor thing. And then, of course, it's got this little video. Now, I like GIFs in emails, so I might have made a little GIF and had the little circle and the arrow so someone could click through to see the whole thing. They don't do a GIF, they just do a still, but they make it clear that it's a video. And then you click through, and it's anchored. You can see here, it's anchored right to the video, and it's a great video. So this email, because it's a theme feature, you can very easily make videos that match a theme. And we were talking about earlier the pants email. We had a fisherman kind of pants, and then we had a desert hiker kind of pants. It's hard to build a video around that. You could just do a video that just had shots of on model, but it's not the same as this amazing little theme video where they can sell all kinds of products. So important concept here is, think about your, now we're getting a little more into the strategy, think about your drop. We will discuss this again, I'm sure. And this isn't only for fashion. You can obviously adjust this so it makes sense for other products, but you've got your drop, and my drops really just take a lifestyle shot, or a kind of really good, cool, in the real world kind of product shot, and just do that and drive them to a category page. You don't need to feature a whole bunch of stuff because you don't even know if you're going to feature the right stuff. So if you feature the wrong stuff, you're driving them to a product page for products that's not going to sell. Doesn't work. You're actually going to do better. It's launch email 1, just drive them right to a category page, simple email, but your best photography, right? Then you can start doing some, like I say, category features, theme features, start to get a little bit more playful and really draw people into the world that you're creating, the aspirational world you're creating with this seasonal drop or with this drop in general. Later on, you start getting an idea for what's selling well. So you can start doing some pairs, like this jacket and these pants, because you know that they're going well together. Or, in this case, hey, this kind of sweater, and we can tell a story how this sweater is going to go, with this table, right? Anyway, you can start doing just some selling some things together, some combos, right? Later on, you're getting later in your season, you know what's selling, you know what's not selling, and you want to start moving what's not selling. So you just start doing some discounting or some BOGOs, some of the stuff that people don't want, mix it with the stuff they do want, push it, get that stuff they don't want as much out the door, recover as much as you can from that fabric or whatever it is that you're selling. As you progress through the season, you start driving people right to product pages because you know what's selling. So you feel safe driving them from the email right to the product page and making the email a shoppable category page. When we think back to the very first slide that we discussed, we had the drop, the seasonal drop, and then we had the 8 cool products. The 8 cool products one later in the season was super shoppable. There were 8 products in there because they knew what to put in there because they had information from the season. The first one was this very simple one. It was just the amazing hero shot and then a couple of products, and it's mostly driving to a category page. So early on, category page. Later on, you start pushing people more to product pages for products that you know are moving. And finally, as you close the whole thing off, you end where you start. Just do a simple image, kind of like we see here on the left, a simple email, some great imagery. You can feature a product if you want, but mostly you want to drive them to your sale page. So you kind of start very simple and it crescendos up until you're doing these theme features and these combos and these BOGOs, and then it shrinks down and simplifies down, and you've got, a simple image. You can just do one image, drive to your sale page. So we really see that here in these 2 emails. We're seeing in this design how we structure these emails to match where we are in our seasonal drop. I hope you all enjoyed this little talk on Filson, Masters of Outdoor Aspiration. These were emails I loved. We are going to do a talk again in future that goes through some emails that I don't love so much, and it'll be some things that you maybe don't want to do. But until then, keep spamming.
In the inbox late night, glowing screens see the light. Email, everything feels alright.
Hey entrepreneurs and spammers, remember, you can't scale without email, and the cheapest customer to acquire is the customer you already have. So please subscribe to the world's best email and retention podcast and learn how to make low-cost revenue a big part of your digital ecosystem.